The Silverback Desert Tech SRS is a sniper rifle that in the airsoft community needs no introduction. Released several years ago, this Bullpup sniper rifle has been making nothing but waves in that sniper space. The SRS not only offered users a unique looking rifle with its Bullpup design, but it was also innovative in its own right, featuring some new designs such as a hop-up that allows pinpoint adjustment, as well as a push bolt that probably is the first of its kind. Over the years, we've seen Silverback release a whole series of different upgrade parts, as well as improvements to their internal manufacturing process to really boost the performance of their sniper rifle, making it one of the most deadly airsoft sniper rifles you can purchase right out of the box. After the release of the lightweight version of the SRS-A1, it became apparent that a new generation was on the horizon, and that brings us to this, the SRS-A2. Overall, it looks very similar to the A1 version, with albeit some modern aesthetic upgrades. However, did this Silverback SRS-A2 manage to keep its precision rifle pedigree, or has it compromised itself somehow in its attempt for a modern facelift? Well, I guess we'll find out. As we previously mentioned, the SRS platform is a bullpup configuration, which allows for you to have a relatively long barrel, yet a compact form factor. As you can see, compared to a traditional size rifle, which is a VSR-10 right here, the Silverback SRS 22-inch version is still noticeably more compact than something like this. Now, its bullpup configuration does have its pros and cons, but we're gonna have to admit that being able to carry a full-size rifle in a regular rifle bag, that's pretty cool. Looking at the SRS-A2, you'll find some obvious design changes, and the keen eye amongst you may even spot a few subtle changes to the gun as well. The first thing many of us will notice is the rail or handguard. Gone is the large circular handguard that requires specific Picatinny mounts to mount accessories to the side. The A2 features a very slim and very sleek looking M-LOK rail. And the rail looks very thin as well, and that probably helps with the overall weight reduction of the rifle itself, but more on that in a little bit. Moving to the body of the A2, they're very similar to the A1, albeit with what I feel like there are a few subtle changes. The stock panels essentially come from the same mold as the SRS-A1, and actually, it inspired a lot of the HTI. Remember that guy? The big bulky boy? Yeah, that guy. So, with that kind of little bit of inspiration, I want to point you to the front of the rifle. This little piece in front of the trigger guard is angled in such a way where you can take your hand and carry it right here, much like the HTI. And I have to say, carrying your gun like this is extremely comfortable. This gun, you would imagine it's going to be very rear heavy. Look at all this mechanism back here. But it's not. Look at how balanced this gun is. I'm just going to balance it on the pistol grip on the table. Now while we're here, let's talk about the trigger. It's long, straight, and it's a single piece. I like it. Another nice change is how the hop-up is adjusted. You can see they use these nubs right here to adjust the hop-up, and it's still the same precision hop-up as seen on the previous generations. Now, with the A1, right, you needed a tool to adjust the hop-up, and this quick adjustment feature allows you to adjust your BBs on the fly if you need to. Easy peasy. Again, there could be some potential drawbacks, but like all things about this rifle, more on that a little later. Now finally, towards the rear of the gun, you'll see like the magazine release, but what I want to point out is right here. They no longer have a monopod within this stock. Now, I'm pretty sure it's because, well, maybe not a lot of people used it, and it also helps greatly with weight reduction. However, if you want a monopod on there, you can still get one. It's just sold separately. Now, I've mentioned a few times in this video already about weight reduction, because as a matter of fact, I think, in my personal opinion only, it is one of the best features that they have for this particular gun. The original weight of the Silverback SRS-A1 at 22 inches was 3.35 kgs, or around 7.4 pounds, and the A2 comes in at 2.5 kgs, or 5.5 pounds. Now that's around a 25% weight reduction, and my God, does it show. On average, the whole line of A2s are roughly 25% lighter than the A1s, which means you can keep perched in a sniper position longer and not feel the weight as much, or run around easier with them, and they will feel more nimble and less cumbersome. With the gun now so much lighter, it gives you the opportunity to carry a heavier sidearm, giving the operator a little bit more flexibility to do more. All that is well and good. My dear audience, I hear you and I know what you're saying. What about the internals? Because we know what's up. It's what's on the inside that counts, right? Which brings me great joy to tell all of y'alls that the internals, with exception to the handguard, are completely compatible with the SRS-A1. Now, I do have to say that the trigger on the A2, you can't adjust its trigger position, but you can drop in an A1 trigger in there, then voila, you can then adjust your trigger position. You can go as far as dropping in that's 2-stage trigger from the A1, then you can also adjust the trigger position and all that other extra cool stuff that 2-stage trigger has as well. Praise to the SRS Silverback gods. Whew, we Gucci. They got this covered. Here we are at Gun Range Zero. Huge shout out to them for letting us film here today, because it is so much better filming in an air-conditioned range than out there in the hot sun. But back to the SRS-A2. Now, the SRS platform has long been known for its large volume of air that can be stored inside its cylinder. To give you an idea, the industry standard VSR-10 has about 35 cc's of air inside its cylinder. This guy, the A2, can store up to 41 cc's, so you get extra air volume in there to ensure that you really get a good fly. Not only does it have great and exceptional air volume, it has perfect air seal. Now, come a little closer and I'll show you what I mean. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the suppressor up here, and I'm going to put my finger to hold the air inside the inner barrel. So what you'll see is, as the bolt moves forward, is just the pressure of the spring pushing the bolt forward, and I'm going to trap the air here, and you will hear the air exit the muzzle and then the bolt travel forward when I remove my finger. Now, check this out. So to give you an idea, this is what it sounds like if I just pull the trigger after cocking the bolt. As you can hear, the air exit the muzzle. Now I'm going to put my finger here to stop it from exiting. Check this out. And as I let go, you hear the air exit the muzzle. That is really good air seal. Alright, so we're about to shoot the gun, but before I do that, I want to quickly go over my setup I have here today. So this is the Silverback DTSS suppressor, and it looks really good. Really, really nice. And as this gun is so quiet, what I'm thinking as the air exits the muzzle, I think this suppressor is really going to quiet things down, where you will only hear the trigger and the bolt mechanism sounds. So I guess we'll talk about that as I shoot. Second thing is I have an RWA first focal scope, and even with these things added on, the gun still feels incredibly light. This is my little trusty tripod. I can't wait to shoot this thing, so let me dial it in quickly for you guys, and then we're gonna take some shots. Let's go. I'm using 0.2 gram BBs. Okay, so I think we're dialed in, but before I actually get to shooting the thing, can we just take a moment and appreciate this hop-up? There's some stuff in here that I find really, really cool. So it turns out there's O-rings underneath these knobs that hold your adjustment as well as they dampen it. This avoids you from losing your zero. There's also a slimmer set of O-rings that come with this that you can swap them out. This allows for you to really fine-tune that adjustment. Or you can just use grub screws that they come with as well. It gives a more realistic look, as well as the ability to keep your hop-up locked in while you swap your barrel out. So this really allows you to keep that perfect hop-up adjustment even with a barrel swap. Really, really cool. So I'm using heavier 0.36 gram BBs in this, so I'm expecting a little bit more consistency. Let's do this. I'm gonna have to say, this action is quite smooth. Even though it's right here by my face, slowly working it and putting it back, very nice. The enlarged knob makes grabbing this thing pretty easy. The trigger breaks nicely. It is a slimmer surface than what I thought it was at first. But again, the break is good and you're right there at the wall. The moment you work that action, you put your finger on that trigger and you're about to squeeze, you already feel that resistance, so it breaks just like butter. Sound-wise, just as I thought. When I took shots downrange, I could only hear the sound of the bolt going forward and, well, the sound of the target. Not bad at all. Let's keep shooting this thing. Last one. When you're setting up sniper rifles, you kind of have to make it your own. For example, let me talk about this cheek riser. It's low profile, it's unobtrusive if you don't want to use it. I like mine set up at a slight angle going upwards, just a little bit easier for my neck. I really enjoy how it's just well done, and if you don't use it, it feels like it's part of the design. The surfaces where all the controls are, they're nice and large. Bullpup design, again, it just takes a bit of getting used to, but they work just fine. This hop up, very commendable. Like, I can see how my shots are being dialed in, and I feel like my grouping is pretty dang good downrange. So really big props to the hop up. And finally to the weight. I'm just gonna have to say that even though I have my trusty tripod here, I'm still having to control the weight of this gun on my shoulder, as well as some of the fine maneuvers as I'm trying to keep my breathing on pace and as I'm breaking the trigger. The light weight of this gun makes all of that so much easier. Now, enough about me talking. Let's go take a look at those results. The results speak for themselves. Highly accurate. Some places even got 2 hold here and here. I'm gonna have to say, yeah, a little bit low, but I'm pretty sure it's no fault of the gun. It's probably on me. If I had a little bit more time behind the trigger on that thing, I can probably get most of this within this area here, but look at this. Not bad at all. Back to the studio. Now, if you want some more info on the SRS, why don't you click on the card above. Tim did a very comprehensive review on the A1 some time ago, or if you want to watch other sniper rifle reviews, we got a couple of cool ones for you up there. The SRS-A2 is a killer. Now with the A1, I thought it was already an extremely well-made and accurate sniper rifle right out of the box. And the A2, as we can clearly see, is no exception. When I shot the A1, I felt like I was already shooting a highly modified sniper rifle. Now, there are a few things that don't necessarily appeal to me. Now, I'm not a real bullpup kind of guy. I don't having the whole reload mechanism right here behind my hand. I just find it a little clumsy. But that's no fault to the gun itself. And if I have to nitpick, changing the handguard is, well, going to be a little harder than it was on the previous SRS-A1 version. But to wrap it all up nicely with a bow, the SRS-A2 is a killer. But a killer not just only because it can shoot really well, but it's a killer because it has officially put every single sniper rifle out there on the market on notice, because this gun has got a lot going for it. And it's going to make a lot of people really happy. Not to mention, it has full access to the wealth of parts compatible with the SRS-A1, making this guy, out of the box, an upgrader's dream. But what do you guys think? Do you think the SRS-A2 will dethrone the almighty VSR-10? Well, according to the Popular Airsoft Awards, it kind of did for the last 2 years. It won the best sniper rifle of 2019 and 2020. But that was the A1. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you want cool products like this guy, do not hesitate and check out our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. If you thought this was a cool video, give us a thumbs up. If you thought it was fun or interesting, share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and of course that notification bell if you want to be notified every time we upload a new video. All of your views are what drives us to keep making great content for you. Now, until the next episode of RedWolf TV, take it easy guys, and I'll see you next time.